My holiness envelops everything I see. Your holiness envelops everything you see. What's good, fam? We made it to lesson 36 of A Course in Miracles. And today is just a great day. Like always, it's a great time to be alive right here and now in each other's presence. And today we're going to understand how our holiness envelops everything we see and how we could use this to our advantage, how me and you could see the real world. We are in the real world right now. There is no fear that exists here. There's no worry that exists here. No lack, no none of that. All of that is an illusion that we have made with our minds. And whenever we experience that illusion, we get to enjoy it and be a part of it because we understand that it is not real. It's merely like going to a scary movie, like we talked about in the previous lessons. There's really nothing serious going on here. And whenever we start to know that and experience that, we could really live this world so joyously. It's so fulfilling, and everything always works out in your favor. Everything always works out in mine and your greatest good. No matter what we think in any moment in time, me and you are being guided by something so just powerful, by something so magnificent and so large, so broad that we can't even describe it or even interpret that with our physical senses or with words or none of that stuff. But just know that it's there, and me and you are an extension of that. Therefore, that communication between us and God, between us and pure positive source energy, love, light, that creator that created me and you, we are still in touch. And that's good to know, because whenever you know that you are in touch with God 24/7 and there's nothing other than ourselves disrupting that communication, we're going to stop disrupting that communication a little more and start being more receptive to where should I go? Which of these options should I choose? I feel guided to go get my work done over here at this Starbucks rather than where I usually go, or I feel led to doing this, and we follow those impulses, and next thing you know, something miraculous takes place, all because we were receptive to the guidance that is always there. That's just powerful, and I don't think there's anyone who wouldn't want that, because whenever you know you have that guidance and you are receptive to it, you are getting from point A to point B in the most fastest amount of time in this world possible. It's just like having a GPS. Whenever you go on your GPS and you're currently at point A and you type in point B wherever you're trying to go, it's telling you the quickest possible way to get to your destination. And whenever you take a wrong turn or a detour, it just reroutes you. It doesn't ask, where did you go? Where have you been? Why did you go the wrong way? Now I'm not going to get you to your destination because you didn't follow instructions the first time. No, none of that. It just reroutes you to the next fastest possible route. And what I've noticed with myself most of the time before I learned any of this is that I was going from point A and then point 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, 8.5, B. So I took all these unnecessary detours whenever, if I was just aligned and receptive to God's communication, I could have went from A to B that quickly, and I could have saved all that effort that was so unnecessary. And it wasn't really unnecessary. Nothing is for no reason ever, because I did what I knew was best in that moment in time. So don't ever beat up on yourself for not knowing this information sooner or not being enlightened sooner, because you at every single moment in time are always doing what is your path of least resistance. So although you look back in the past somewhere and you did something at a certain point in time that you were like, I shouldn't have done that, just keep in mind that at that moment in time, whenever you said that thing or took that action or did whatever you did that you regret, you were doing the best you could at that moment in time with the knowledge you had at that given moment in time. And that's very good to know, because now we know that at this moment in time, still, me and you aren't doing the best with the knowledge that we have. But because me and you have been just blasting our brains with this knowledge right here, we can do a lot more at any given moment in time than we could have before without this knowledge. So let's go ahead and dive right into this lesson, and then we'll talk more about this real world that we're currently living in. It's so beautiful, and this is always here, even when we don't see it. This state of mind and this frequency is always here for us to tune into. Now, like usual, if you got the book, pull up to lesson 36, and we're going to read this together. If you don't got the book, the PDF is in the description. Let's go ahead and dive into this, and we'll discuss it and apply it together. Lesson 36 of A Course in Miracles. My holiness envelops everything I see. Today's idea extends the idea for yesterday from the perceiver to the perceived. You are holy because your mind is part of God's. And because you are holy, your sight must be holy as well. Sinless means without sin. You cannot be without sin a little. You are sinless or not. If your mind is part of God's, you must be sinless, or a part of His mind would be sinful. Your sight is related to His holiness, not to your ego, and therefore not to your body. 4 3 to 5 minute practice periods are required for today. Try to distribute them fairly evenly and make these shorter applications frequently to protect your protection throughout the day. The longer practice periods should take this form. First, close your eyes and repeat the idea for today several times slowly. Then open your eyes and look quite slowly about you, applying the idea specifically to whatever you note in your casual survey. Say, for example, my holiness envelops that rug. Let's go ahead and read these examples, and then we'll do our own. My holiness envelops that wall. My holiness envelops these fingers. My holiness envelops that chair. My holiness envelops that body. My holiness envelops this pen. Let's do a few by ourselves. My holiness envelops this highlighter. My holiness envelops this hand. My holiness envelops that mic. My holiness envelops everything I see. And that is because me and you are an extension of God. We are a part of His mind, and we've discussed why that is so the last few days. And today we are finally understanding that whenever we know what we know, like we do right now, our holiness envelops everything we see. We are kind of, you could use the word blessing. We are blessing everything that we see in our vicinity. And it's much more powerful whenever you apply the lesson, because you are deliberately blessing. So you're saying, my holiness envelops this object that I'm looking at. My holiness envelops this person. And we're going to continue reading this lesson, and then we'll talk more about this. Several times during these practice periods, close your eyes and repeat the idea to yourself. Then open your eyes and continue as before. For the shorter exercise periods, close your eyes and repeat the idea. Look about you as you repeat it again, and conclude with one more repetition with your eyes closed. All applications should, of course, be made quite slowly, as effortlessly and unhurriedly as possible. And that is the end of lesson 36. Now, my holiness envelops you, and your holiness envelops me. Me and you are one. Me and you are an extension of the same mind. Therefore, me and you are not so separated as we may think. I am not so separated from the world and everything in it as I may think. And you are not so separate from the world as you may think. Me and you have much more in common than not. Me and you have much more in common than things that we don't have in common. And that goes with everyone else. We are so much more than what we see with these physical eyes and what we hear and smell and taste and touch. We are so much more than that. Me and you are unquantifiable. Me and you are literally extensions of the greatest ever. And all of that is hard to conceive when we are in these bodies anyways, but we are a part of that. We are a part of and one with all that is, all that has been, and all that will be. There is no need to fear anything because it is all just for fun. It's all for the joy. And remember that we are going to get the lesson, I believe it's 66, but the lesson heading was my function is happiness. That's such a powerful lesson, and I can't wait till we reach that lesson together. But it's true, our function is happiness. That is really all we need to remember, is that whenever we are happy, or any form that love takes, and we know because of the way we feel, then we are thinking thoughts about whatever we are giving our attention to at that moment in time in harmony with the way that God is looking at them. Because remember, and I'm going to go to the lesson so that way I practice too, because trust me, I am growing with you. Just because I'm reading this book right now don't mean that I still am not learning either. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Our mind is a part of God's. We are very holy. So whenever we are looking at whatever we're looking at, and we are thinking the same way about it that God is thinking about this thing that we are giving our attention to, we are going to feel great because we are in harmony with the way that God is looking at whatever's in front of us at any given moment in time, which is with love, with knowledge, with joy, with appreciation, with awe. And whenever we are looking at whatever's in front of us at any given moment in time, other than that, whenever we're looking at anything in front of us at any given moment in time in opposition to how God is looking at it in that moment in time, we are going to feel the discord, the disconnection. We are going to feel that gap, so to speak, because we have God all the way up here and our mind is one with God. So that way, whenever we are looking at this situation like He is, we feel connected and we feel that connection through emotion. Now, whenever I'm looking at this situation that's in front of me that God knows I got a flat tire because I'm going to meet somebody who is going to become a lifelong friend, or whatever the case may be, whatever reason that happened for, which is a reason that me and you can't even think of at that moment in time whenever a flat tire or some contrasting experience happens. But God knows exactly why everything's happening, which is not for no reason at all. It is all intentional and nothing happens by accident. None of it is coincidence. It is all being orchestrated from something much larger than me and you. And whenever we look at this situation and we are looking at it in the way God is looking at it, which is with love, with light, with understanding, with knowledge, we feel good because we're connected, because we are one with God's mind. But whenever I'm looking at the situation and I'm thinking down here, and I know I'm thinking down here because I feel emotions that are not up here. I feel worry, doubt, fear, anger, irritation. That means that God is giving His attention to the same exact thing that I'm giving attention to. And because I am thinking in opposition to how God is looking at the situation, I feel the gap that I have created between me and God. And the only person who could fill that gap is me, because God cannot go down and connect that to make me feel good, because you can't decrease after you've evolved. God is up here and cannot go back to the former state that God was currently at. Think about a shirt. Whenever you stretch a shirt neck out and you even throw it in the dryer and it's just still stretched, it's not going to go back to how it was before. Or something that has expanded, it can't compress to its previous state. Think about that. The only way that connection and gap is going to be closed is if I begin to change my perception of the given situation and close that gap myself. And we have to do that deliberately at first, because me and you have this gap most of the time, and we know that we do because of our negative emotions. And in that moment, we are not understanding that our holiness envelops everything we see. We think that that thing is separate from us, but whenever we understand that we are one with all that is, then you know that there is nothing to fear, there's nothing to worry about, and you always look at any situation in any given moment in time through the eyes of Source, which is such a great feeling. You are right now, me and you are looking at this world through the eyes of Source, through the eyes of God. We are looking at this world with love, with appreciation, with joy, with laughter, with any of those attributes, because this is our natural state and who we are. And this is simple. The real world is simple. There's not much that you have to do here. Things are done for you. Things are done for me. And that's just so good, right? Because it gives us more time to enjoy everything that's coming, rather than trying to make something happen and we're not seeing what's right in front of our eyes. And that is just synonymous with being asleep. You could call that being asleep. Me and you are awake right now, and being awake is the most powerful thing that you could be, because you are clear-minded. You have clarity. You are woke. You are enlightened. You are receptive to that guidance, and you know which way to go, which way to turn, what place to go, what to say, whom to say it to, and yeah, there's really not much more words that can be used in order to describe this state of being. But whenever you get here, and whenever I got here, I knew that this was something that I need to practice. And one more thing, just to make one more analogy I want to use just to make this so much clearer, is, let's just say I take a radio, okay? I'm going to use my phone for example, but let's just say I had a radio receiver, so I could receive FM radio, and I have this box right here, right? And I turn it to 100.9 FM. I am going to receive what's playing instantaneously right now in this moment on that station, which means that that frequency is passing through here right now. It's right in front of my eyes, but I can't see it because our eyes, like we've talked about the last few days, are not able to perceive frequencies above or below certain thresholds. Now, think how powerful that is, and really feel what I'm saying right now. 100.9 FM, 97.3 FM, every single radio station that I want to listen to right now is passing through this air. It is present with us here and now, and I can't see it, I can't hear it, I can't smell it, taste it, or touch it. But if I go ahead and get my receiver, my box, and I go on here and tune the receiver to that station, I'm going to pick it up because it's receiving that station right now. And the same thing goes with God. Let's take this as another example. God is here with us always, but because that frequency, if you will, is so high and moving at rapid speeds, and it's so great, our eyes or ears or mouth or nose or any of our senses in this physical body are not able to receive or perceive that amount of oscillation, of frequency. It just can't pick it up. We can't interpret that. But our emotions are much more finer tuned instruments than our physical senses. You could call your emotion a sense as well, and it is so much, if you practice it, to be so much more of a finely tuned instrument, because it's literally giving you guidance 24/7 in this moment, instantly. And something that happens in this world is we are looking outside of ourselves for guidance, where other people, what should I wear, what should I say, what should I do, who should I go to for this situation? And we're asking people all these questions, what they think is better, what they think is good, and they don't even know how to follow their own guidance. So what makes us think that their guidance is valid to us? it just don't make sense. It's an insane world that we live in because we began to look everywhere else other than within for our own guidance, which is being projected to us 24/7. We are always being guided, and if you don't believe me, how are you feeling right now? The way you're feeling right now is that guidance, and if it is good, you are functioning properly, and if it is not good, then we are simply asleep. We are malfunctioning in that moment. We are hallucinating, we are dreaming, we are seeing something that is not there. We are focused on something that we didn't desire, and instead of seeing what was given birth from that contrast, instead of focusing on what we would prefer and turning all our attention to wanted, we are still in this moment thinking about what happened in the past. And therefore, lesson 7, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I believe that's lesson 7. Let me just double check. It's around there though. Lesson 7 is I see only the past. My bad. Lesson 8 is my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. But I'm starting to get an even more defined sense of how this all works and how it all begins to click together, because whenever I am thinking about something that happened in the past and I'm dwelling over it and I don't feel good in this instant while doing so, that means that I am looking at the situation in opposition to the way that God's looking at the situation. Because remember, like lesson 35 states, my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Our minds are one and connected and unified with God's. And whenever we are thinking harmoniously, we feel great. And whenever we are tugging away, we're going to feel that discord through our emotions. And there's only 2 forms of emotion: love and fear. There is love, there is connection, there is truth, and then the illusion and the separation. But it's okay whenever you're separated. Don't beat up on yourself, because it actually feels good to be separated a little bit, because whenever you know what you don't want, you evolve from that experience. And remember, it's just like the roller coaster. Now that me and you have been studying this information for the past month now, we have been understanding that it's not as serious as we make it out to be, and we're going to continue to say that as we go along, because it's really not. We understand that now we can fully play along with the play. We can play along and feel the negative emotions and feel the worry, the doubt, and the illusions, because we understand that it is not really there, and we know that we could turn that switch on and off in the snap of a finger. In the blink of an eye, we can turn that switch on and off, and we get to deliberately decide how we want to feel. Do I want to get angry a little bit because that just feels like something that I just want to do? Let's do it. Or do I want to feel love in this moment, or do I want to feel irritated, or whatever it may be? Because now you're no longer attached to those emotions. And I know this sounds very contradictory to what we've been talking about, but it's really not, because whenever you reach the state of mind that we're currently at, you know that whenever you do experience contrast, which is inevitable while we're in these bodies, because that is what we came for. We came for the contrast in order to help us evolve and know more clearly what we don't want, so we can know more clearly what we do want, and then focus all our attention on the new desire that has just formed in this moment in time. And then evolution happens. We are going to experience contrast while we're in these bodies, and that's just a fact. But whenever we do, and we get angry or we get irritated or annoyed, we can change it in any given moment in time, or we could continue to stay in there, but we're doing it deliberately now. Before, we would feel those emotions and it would just take over and consume our whole entire inner world, and it was just a state of mind that was so far from truth. And it's a state of mind that you think is so real while you're there. Fear, I think, is so real while it's there, especially before I understood this information. Lack, worry, doubt, it feels so real while you're there when you're unaware. And that's where most of the world is right now. Even the people around me that I love are in that state of mind right now. And I am doing what I do in order to wake them up. And if they're not ready to wake up yet, they're not ready to wake up. There is no need to force this material on anybody. Whenever you know this, you know this. and you are going to enjoy your life and see everyone as they really are, which is a reflection of who you are, which is love and light, which is an extension of God's mind. We are all that oneness, and we are all unified, and there is no fixing that this world needs. Me and you didn't come here to fix a broken world. We understand that we are coming into an experience of contrast, and we are going to enjoy it because it is just like a very well-stocked kitchen. If you don't want jalapenos in your pie, don't put them in your pie. And you put anything in your pie in this world by giving your attention to it. And most people are giving their attention to the lack of what they desire, and they're getting more and more and more of that because they're giving their attention to it. They're putting the jalapenos in their pie. And whenever we turn our attention from what we don't want and focus on what we do desire, then we are putting that in our pie, and we are getting more of that in this world, because this is a world of cause and effect. It is an attraction-based universe. So remember, you are the cause and the effect is outside of you. And whenever we try to change the effect outside, but the cause didn't change, it's just going to continue to reappear in many different ways and forms until me and you do something about changing the ingredients that we're putting in our pie in this world through our attention to it. There's so much that we still need to discuss and talk about. Me and you are both in the right place right now at the right time, learning this information together. And no matter how much we think we know, there's just so much more out there to remember. And I want to use the word remember because all of this information we are one with. We are one with and a part of knowledge. All knowledge that ever existed and ever has and will exist. We are a part of that. And it is only a matter of me and you unlearning everything that we've learned in this world that is blocking us from being available to receive that knowledge whenever we need it at any given moment in time. And that's just such a great feeling, because whenever we are in this state of mind like we are now, we are unstoppable. We are creators. There's nothing to fear. And we just get to live our lives in happiness and joy and in love, waking everyone around us up. And if they're ready to wake, they'll wake. And if they're not ready to wake, then don't force it on anyone, because they're not going to get it anyways. You are trying to make a pig fly, and you are going to waste your time and annoy the pig. So just be you, enjoy your experience, enjoy everyone around you, love everyone around you, whether that's with words or just transmitting that blessing to them. And remember that your holiness envelops them by your attention to them. So just take some time with this lesson today. I know that it's a lot, and we discussed a lot of things that had nothing to do with this lesson, but I believe that everything that was said in this moment in time was perfect to be said in this moment of time. And we're going to talk more about everything we just discussed today, and we are going to understand it more. It is going to become more clear to us, and we are going to get to the point with enough practice that we no longer need to discuss this ever again, because it has become a part of who we are. It has become our being once again, because this is who we are. So until tomorrow, I will see you for lesson 37 of A Course in Miracles, and may you have a blessed day.